Stephen Roach is trying to save the jersey so he can fight another day. He knows if he can just clear these alpine climbs within seconds of Delgado, he'll take him in the time trial on Saturday. And Delgado knows this too, and here we have a man trying to distance himself from Roach before he leaves the Alps. What a tremendous tour this is, and yet here are the two leaders on the road, and I have to say that nobody's really worrying exactly who will win, because the battle is between Delgado and Stephen Roach. But look at this is the battle again now, and still Delgado fights on, tries to find some more strength out of the saddle. Well, the Roach group now is 1 minute and 35 seconds behind the Fignon group, but we don't know the latest gap on Pedro Delgado, who we are watching at the moment, but it does still confirm to us that Roach is coming back up the climb. As you can see, the cheers now for Pedro Delgado, the yellow jersey of the Tour de France. He really has taken this race, he's given it his all, he knows he must get time in the mountains, and you can't take anything away from him. He's making this a real race to remember. And these two riders have no idea of the drama that's going on, just a minute behind them, but they're surviving. They're surviving indeed, because it looks as though Delgado is not going to catch him, but Fabio Parra might. There's the kilometre kite, the red banner across the road. Just over half a mile from the finish of this most terrific stage in the Tour de France. We have seen the resistance of the men who want to win this race, and we've seen the cheek of Laurent Fignon and Manuel Fuerte, who have tried to win the stage. Two team leaders, 41, Fuerte leads the BH team, 61, Fignon leads the French System U team. And under the kite they go now, 1 kilometre from the top. Fuerte beaten yesterday on Alpe d'Huez into second place. Would dearly like to win the stage today, because he is the top man in the BH team, and he was beaten by one of his teammates, Echavet, who beat a lot of them by breaking away long before the climb, gaining so much time they never caught him. Fuerte was second at Alpe d'Huez, and he's still willing to work here. Look at the crowd, a marvellous crowd here. They follow this Tour de France round daily. There's no sporting event in the world annually gets the people on the roadside that the Tour de France does. And it can be anything from 300,000 to 1 million people on the roadside daily. The cheers, they're shouting down their ears here, cheering them on. The French flags are out and flying. At last, Laurent Fignon, their hero, is looking for the stage win. He's got the slipstream of Fuerte. He knows the finish, don't forget. He won here. The only other time it came up Plagne in 1984. On that occasion, it was a great occasion because he went on to win the Tour de France. And look at the gear, Paul, he's just locked in there. His legs have almost come to a standstill. He's about to launch an attack that Fuerte may find hard to take. Fuerte zigzagging, he's forcing Fignon to try and make an attack from one side only. This is almost a track stamp finish here. Fuerte goes to the barriers, making Fignon come on his left, then he moves him across when he pins him on the outside, then back again, and now he goes. And Fuerte is going to have to take the wheel of Fignon. Fignon has chosen the gear he wants for the climb. He's gone very, very early. He's going to make it a long one. Fuerte grits his teeth. There's still some fight in the Spaniard here as he comes round the corner. Paul Sherwin here is cheering for Laurent Fignon. He loves this cyclist because he's such an aggressive rider. Fignon is coming on the right. And yes, and look how annoyed Fuerte is. As you can hear the cheers. Fignon has fought daily for the victory. He's got it now. But as the clock ticks on, Laurent Fignon comes over the line to that noise. We're watching Fabio Parra here now. And Parra will take second place. Third place. Fuerte was over there, terribly annoyed. He totally got that sprint wrong. Laurent Fignon is the winner. Parra will now come across in third place. And then the real drama of this Tour de France will begin as we watch Pedro Delgado come over for fourth place. There's Parra comes over in third place. 38 seconds the gap on the corner. Here is the start of the drama of today's stage of the Tour de France. Again, Pedro Delgado has slipped Stephen Roach on the climb. But remember, at one point he had 1.5 minutes. And just who is that rider coming up behind? Because that looks like Roach. That looks like Stephen Roach. It's Stephen Roach who's come over the line. He almost caught Pedro Delgado. I don't believe it. What a finish by Stephen Roach. We never knew he was that close. Stephen Roach has risen to the occasion so well. He almost caught Pedro Delgado on the line. Surely Paul Sherwin Stephen Roach is now going to win this Tour de France.
Well, what an incredible finish by Stephen there. Who could have imagined that coming up those last few kilometres he must have pulled everything out. He let Delgado go at the bottom. Delgado did the same thing yesterday. He attacked and cracked towards the top of the climb, and Stephen just paced himself and pulled him back incredibly over the last few kilometres of this climb. Fantastic ride there.
Well, I've never ever in my life seen a reaction to a climb like that, and Roach has found strength he never knew he had. You can't see the scenes at the moment, but I can describe them to you because they're out the side of our camera. Roach is surrounded by photographers. He is almost in a state of collapse, and they're fighting now to get some air to Stephen Roach. He has produced strength, unbelievable strength. Roach is being held up by the doctor. The cameras are going down to him. You may see some pictures shortly, but Roach is being held up by the doctor. His mechanic has now got him. He is leaning back. He is trying to gulp as much of the fresh air of the Plagne. He's being physically lifted to one side. He is only a matter of 3 feet from me. I am now looking down on Stephen Roach, who is on the floor, and he is sitting on the floor. The doctor is with him, and his mechanic is there as well. And Roach is now talking to the doctor. The doctor is massaging his chest. There's no serious problem here. I must emphasize, Roach is simply exhausted by the climb. His mechanic has given him a glass of water, and the doctor is not looking at all concerned. He's allowing the natural recovery of an athlete who has produced the limit of his ability up this climb. And now the police are in the scrum here as they're forcing back cameras and photographers who are trying to see Stephen Roach. You might be able to hear them shouting here, but Stephen Roach is still sitting calmly on the floor. The doctor just looking him in the eyes, talking to him, making sure he's completely conscious. Roach, I must say, looks a little bit white, but he's nodding he's okay. He's nodding there's no problem at all, as the mechanic holds a bottle of what looks more like a salt fluid here rather than water. But Stephen Roach has just produced an effort like I have never in my life seen. And there is the stage result today. Win for Laurent Fignon. But Stephen Roach, look at that. 5 seconds he was behind Pedro Delgado on the line. What an incredible, incredible performance. Well, it's been an incredible day in the Tour de France, and Pedro Delgado keeps his yellow jersey, but only slightly increases his overall lead. What another amazing day this has been in the Tour de France. And there is Stephen Roach receiving oxygen on the floor. This has been some 15 minutes now since Roach finished, but it does appear that at last he is beginning to come round. There have been the most dramatic scenes I think I've ever seen in the Tour de France here, because Stephen Roach has been lying on the floor for a quarter of an hour with literally hundreds of photographers trying to crowd in on him, and the police have now at last managed to get a control of the situation.
What a day, and what an effort by Stephen Roach, who we thought was out of the Tour at one stage. In the event, he lost just 4 seconds to Delgado. There's no